സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം. സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം. സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം. സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം സർവം ബ്രഹ്മമയം.
Namaskaram, sir.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Audio is okay? Audio is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, we'll start. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर्गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः. गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. सर्वसंशयच्छेत्तारं सच्चिदानन्दविग्रहं सदा सुस्मेरवदनं बालकृष्णं नमाम्यहं. विद्यारण्याद्वैद्यात् व्याधेरिव भवस्य हि विनुत्यै पथ्यान्यास्वाद्यन्तां पञ्चदशप्रकरणानि भक्ष्याणि. Om. Good morning and namaskaram to all. So we have been discussing Panchadasi. So we are in the last 3 verses remaining. We have completed up to verse number 62. Today we will conclude 63, 64, 65, and next class we will do a summary of the whole chapter. So 62nd verse, 62nd वाक्यम अप्रतिबद्धं सत् प्राक् परोक्षावभासिते करामलकवद्बोधम् अपरोक्षं प्रसूयते. अप्रतिबद्धं वाक्यं सत्, the vakyam mahavakyam tattvamasi, the vak Vakya Phalam. Okay. So the Phalam of Tattvamasi or the Jnana Phalam was Prak Parokshavaabhaside. Right? Earlier it was not clear. The Jnana Phalam was not experienced because it was obstructed. That is what. So Parokshavaabhaside. The intellectual clarity is there, but the Jnana Phalam, which is Anandam, is not felt. Why? Because of the obstruction. What is the obstruction here? Obstruction is lack of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Then that becomes apratibadham sad. It becomes clear when all the disturbances, all the pradibandham is removed. When we acquire the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, then jnana phalam is produced, which becomes unobstructed vakyam. Aparoksham bodham prasuyate. That unobstructed knowledge is born, or means that is felt. Jnana phalam is produced when the obstruction is removed. Right? So we talked about nididhyasanam mainly. So the nididhyasanam is dwelling upon the teaching. Whatever the Mahavakyam teaching is there, dwelling upon it there are many methods. One is repeated Shravanam, listen to Vedanta again and again, repeated reading of scriptures, Bhagavad Gita or Panchadasi or Upanishads, right? All these scriptures read again and again. Then writing. Some people write notes, some people write commentaries, right? When we read some books, we take down notes, and we go through the notes again and again. That is also one way of nididhyasanam. Then discussion. Discussing among like-minded people, right? That is also a sort of nididhyasanam only. Then sharing, teaching someone. So if you meet someone, if you think that okay, this individual will be able to understand, capable, then you start giving him something from the Vedanta. So you share the knowledge and you see how the other person is able to take, right? So it is a way of when you find someone, don't leave them, okay? Teach them, try your best. Then at your own risk share the knowledge. Then another is the yogic samadhi abhyasam, the yogic way, that is through nididhyasanam, sit in a particular posture, right? So that samadhi abhyasam will lead to savikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi, etc. So these are the various methods of nididhyasanam through which one will be an adhikari, one will be qualified. So nididhyasanam removes the obstruction or acquires the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Nitya vastu vivekam, vairagyam, samadhi shatka sampatti, shamam, damam, uparati, tidiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, all these are the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti and Mumukshutvam. So these four are acquired, and what will happen to the mind? The mind will become pure. Purity of the mind is similar to the maturity or pakvada or a ripening of a fruit. It is compared to the ripening of a fruit. So when the fruit becomes ripened, what happens to the quality of the fruit? The fruit becomes more sweet. That is one aspect. Second is, it automatically disconnects from the branch. Right? It automatically disconnects. Like what it say? Tryambagam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva bandhanat mrityormukshi yamamrtaat. Like urvarikam, like automatically it disconnects. Bandhanat, it disconnects. So urvarikamiva bandhanat mrityormukshiyam amrtaat, for amrtatvam. Right, for amrtatvam means for moksham, it automatically disconnects. Like that, when the fruit becomes ripened, automatically how it disconnects. Similarly, a ripened mind will get disconnected from Atma. It gets disconnected from the Atma. So, this sweetness of the mind is what others experience. A jnani's mind is always sweet, but that sweetness of the mind is experienced by the people outside. When the people look at a jnani, sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, etc., you can see, and also what is the sweetness of the mind, how it is felt. Adveshta sarvabhutanam. 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita says, Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitrah karuna evacha narmamo nirahangaraha samadukha sukhakshami. Adveshta sarvabhutanam. No dvesham towards anything or anyone. No dvesham. Sarvabhutanam maitrah karuna evacha. Maitri is there. Always friendly. Right? Karuna, compassion towards everyone. Compassion will be there. Towards everything that is happening, he'll have compassion. If somebody is suffering, the compassion will be there. And goes out of the way to help if possible. Right? So, the karuna is there. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha. Nirmamaha. There is no mamata. There is no mine attitude. There is nothing mine. Nirmamo. Nirahankaraha. I am not doing anything here. Everything is happening here. Or everything is done by Bhagavan. I am not doing anything here. Nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhakshami. Right? Sama, dukkham and sukham, or favorable or unfavorable conditions are felt equally. The equanimity of the mind is never compromised. Then santushtaha, always happy. Satatam, all the time. Yogi, mind is controlled. Yata chittatma, drida nischayaha, never deviates from the path of attaining liberation. Right? My arpita mano buddhi, the mind and the buddhi, etc., is totally surrendered to me, Bhagavan. So, such an individual, he is Bhakta and he is my dearest. This is what Bhagavan said in Bhagavad Gita. So, a ripened mind will be felt like this when you look from outside. But as far as the jnani is concerned, the jnani does not identify himself or herself with the mind. Whether the mind is sweet or sour, etc., the jnani is not getting connected with it. The mind will be sweet, that is fine, but the jnani does not identify with the mind, because the mind is mithya. The mind and the sense organs and the body and the objects of this world is not real, it is unreal. I am the Atma, which is never born, which never dies, which is eternal. That is the state of a jnani, never identifies with the body. But such a mind of a jnani will be sweet. Okay, this point we have to understand very clearly. So, a jnani, whether there is, so when the mind, when the jnani does not identify with the mind or the body, that state is called Jivan Mukti. That is the Jivan Mukti. And when the mind continues, right? The mind continues according to the prarabdha. According to the prarabdha, the body drops. When the time has come, the body drops. It is called Videha Mukti. So this Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti, this differentiation, etc., is only for the people who are looking at a jnani. Whereas for a jnani, Jivan Mukta, Videha Mukta is all same only. Because the moment the identification with the body is dropped, that individual has always free only. Whether it is Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti doesn't make any difference, because it doesn't identify with the body or mind. Because of that reason, the Jnani thinks whether the mind, there is one mind or thousands of mind, etc., or this mind, when the time comes, when the body is dropped, this mind merges with the totality. The mind of a Jnani is merged with the totality, or Jnani is really not bothered whether the mind is continuing or whether the mind is getting dissolved, etc. The Jnani, because Jnani doesn't identify with the body, whether there is one Janma or 1,000 Janma, because all this Janma is all mithya. When a Jnani identifies with the Atma, Atma doesn't have any Janma at all, not even one Janma, right? So that means identification with the mind continues. Okay, if one identifies with the mind, that will continue Janma, Punarjanma, etc. Whereas for a Jnani who doesn't identify with the mind, so whether one mind is there or 1,000 minds, or this mind continues, whether the body is burnt or whether the body is buried, because it merges with this Panchabhutas, right? So the Jnani is not at all bothered about all this, because it's all mithya only. Okay, this point we have to understand here. So that is real freedom. That is freedom. Okay, real moksha. Disidentification, or not identifying with the body and mind and identifying with Atma, is moksham. That is called liberation. So that happens to a Jnani. As a result of what? As a result of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, the jnana phalam is produced. That is what is called aparoksham. Okay, that is what the 62nd verse says, no? Yeah, aparoksham prasuyate. Now we'll move to the 63rd. So now Vidyaranya Swami is going to explain in the three verses 63, 64 and 65 what is the Paroksha Jnanaphalam and Aparoksha Jnanaphalam. So 63rd is about Paroksha Jnanaphalam. Paroksha Jnanaphalam is, already we discussed, but again one more time. Paroksham Brahma Vijnanam Shabdam Deshika Purvagam Buddhi Purva Kritam Papam Kritsnam Dahati Vanhivat. Deshika Purvakam, the knowledge that is received from a Deshika means Guru, Acharya, one who is realized. So from that knowledge which is received from a Guru, Shabdam. Shabdam means Shabdajanyam is Shabdam. Shabdam here means Mahavakyam. Okay, so Shabdajanyam Jnanam, or whatever is the proclaimed by the Mahavakyam, that one, that Brahma Vijnanam, the knowledge of Brahman, Buddhi Purva Kritam, Kritsnam Papam Vannivad Dahati. Okay, that is the Paroksha Jnanam. Paroksha Jnanam is, we can say that there is Jnanam, but the Jnanam is obstructed by the lack of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Intellectual understanding is clear because of Shravanam and Mananam. One who has clarity in understanding about Brahman, because of that Jnanam, Buddhi Purva Kritam Kritsnam Papam Dahati. What is Papam? Papam is any action that is done with a sense of doership, whether it is good action or whether it is a bad action. Whatever be the action, nature of action, when it is done with a doership, ahamkara, when I am the doer, whenever any action is done with a doership, that is papam. So, buddhi purva kritam papam dahati. Buddhi purva kritam means deliberate actions. Okay, deliberate actions Deliberate actions means what? What do you mean by deliberate actions? Intentional actions with an intention of harming someone or all that, that will be completely destroyed because of this paroksha jnanam. This intellectual understanding will make people, will not allow the individual to do any nishiddha karma or any adharmic karma with a doership, or rather it will remove all the doership from the mind. Okay, if not completely, at least adharmic actions will not be done. Such an individual will not do any intentional actions, will not come. Okay, it destroys the kritsanam papam. Okay, adharmika karmani, because intentionally this individual will not do, because intellectual clarity has come because of Sravanam and Mananam. But habituated actions, which is born from Vasana, that will not go. So, the Vasana janitam, anything that comes from habituated, right, that will not immediately go. It will take time. But buddhi purva kritam kritsanam papam dahati. How? Vannivadu dahati. They are like burnt in the fire. Like how the fire burns the fuel. Similarly, this jnanam, there is even if it is paroksha jnanam, even if it is intellectual clarity is there, because there is no doubt, there is no doubt about aham brahmasmi. There is no doubt about aham brahmasmi. Then what will happen? All those actions, right? All those actions with an intention of doer, that will go away. But that which are habituated, which is vasana janyam, which is naturally, say like suppose a mosquito is sitting on your hand, suddenly you do this. This is vasana janyam, right? There is no, but intentionally you will not harm. Intentionally you will not harm anything. But unintentionally, because of your habit, what we do like this. So the mosquito is done. So I am giving one small example. So like that, any action that is coming from sudden emotions without warning, which is vasana janyam, okay, there is no time for the intellect to act, etc. Okay, that will continue. It will take more time. It is all coming because of the raga dveshas are there inside the mind, which is vasana janyam, which has to be destroyed only through practice. That practice is acquiring sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Okay, so 63rd verse says, Paroksham Brahma Vijnanam Shabdam Deshika Purvakam. Deshika Purvakam means this has to come from Acharya only, that knowledge which is received from Guru and scriptures. Buddhi Purva Kritam Prapam. Intentional adharmic actions all will be Kritsanam Jahati. Completely it will be destroyed. So deliberate bad habits will be completely destroyed. Okay, so this, but whereas jealousy, anger, depression, fear, anxiety, they all come in the mind, right? They come unknowingly, without warning. It just, in a flash of a second, it arises in the mind. Even if there is intellectual clarity, these emotions which are spontaneous, it will appear in the mind. Okay, even if we don't want, it will come. And some actions also will come, some action also will come through those emotions. Those actions are also impulsive. Okay, that will take some more time. That is what Vidyaranya Swami says. The habitual problems continue with Paroksha Jnanam. Only Paroksha Jnanam, it will not go. But intentional actions all will be completely destroyed. So that itself is a great leap. Okay, that itself is a great leap. Next, what about aparoksha jnanam? Let us see what Vidyaranya Swami says. Aparokshatma vikyanam shabdam deshika purvakam samsara karana jnana tamasascha tamasaha chandabhaskaraha tamasas-chandabhaskaraha aparokshatma vikyanam shabdam deshika purvakam samsara karana jnana ajnana tamasaha ajnana tamasas-chandabhaskaraha. Unobstructed knowledge, that is, one who has acquired the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti through various sadhanas, right, like nididhyasana. Here nididhyasanam is the method of removing removing the obstruction which is acquiring the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Unobstructed knowledge by the qualified student who practiced very hard to obtain this, right? It's not easy to get to control the mind, to control the sense organs, right? It is not easy to develop tidiksha, endurance, and shraddha, the belief in the scriptures, and guru vakyam, shraddha, samadhanam, focus of the mind, etc. These things are to be acquired. All the actions that we do through karma yoga, right, through bhakti yogam, jnana yogam, all those, whatever has been prescribed by the scriptures, all the actions that we do, when these actions are done as an offering to God without I don't want anything, everything is an offering to God, when it is done, that acquires the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Okay, so all the effort is not for jnanam. Remember, all the effort that we do in our life is not for jnanam, but for removing the ragadveshas or purifying the mind. This purification of the mind is, we call it as sadhana, by various kinds of sadhana, by doing puja, going to temples, or doing so many other charity, dhanam, tapas, okay, all those efforts that we do with the help of this body, mind, intellect, money, everything, all that is used to remove the ragadveshas of the mind. That is what is becoming ripening. Okay, so remember, it is not for jnanam. Jnanam is Tattvamasi, done. You are that. When you listen to Tattvamasi from a guru, immediately you should realize that is not happening only because of lack of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Why I am emphasizing here? It is because the karma that we do as a karma yoga is to remove this obstruction. Remember this. It is not for jnanam. That point I want to make, because karma cannot produce jnana. Remember, karma will not produce jnanam. Karma will increase vasana, etc. So it has to be this karma to be done as a karma yoga only. Then only it will remove the urge to do karma. That is karma vasana. Okay. So that point I want to make. That is why I am emphasizing here. So again, coming back, deshika purvakam shabdam mahavakya janyam. It has to come from guru only. Okay, it cannot be. No one can get this aparoksha jnanam just like that by meditation or by imagination, etc. We will not get. By thinking a lot, you will not get. It has to come from Shabda Pramanam. It has to come from Vedas. It has to come from Upanishads. And that has to come from a guru. It can be a book. It can be someone. Okay, from Deshika Purvagam, Aparoksha Atma Vijnanam, about Atma, Atma Jnanam. Okay, that Atma Jnanam, which is direct knowledge, Aparoksha Jnanam. So where that Jnanam, what is the difference between Paroksha Jnanam, Aparoksha Jnanam? Aparoksha Jnanam is assimilated knowledge. The assimilated knowledge that Aham Brahmasmi has come by from the Paroksha Jnanam that the buddhi tells you aham brahmasmi without doubt. But this one, buddhi is not necessary. Buddhi is not required to tell you, because naturally aham brahmasmi. So all in that, what will happen? Samsara karanat ajnana tamasas chandavasara. This ajnanam, that the ignorance that I am Atma. The ignorance that I don't know that I am Atma, sorry. The ignorance that I am not Atma, right? That ignorance. I am this body, I am this mind, that is ajnanam. That ajnanam will be burnt, which is the cause of, this ajnanam is the cause of samsara karana. The samsara karana, the problems of the world, right? The samsaram, the bondage that is arising, the attachment towards the objects, the raga, the dvesha, right? Ragam, dvesham, all these are all because of the ajnanam. That ajnanam will be removed completely by how Chanda Bhaskara. Bhaskara means sun, Chanda Bhaskara means the scorching sun. The noon time, the sun, So that sun, in that sunlight, no darkness can be there. Inside the room, darkness also will go. Outside anyway, there will be no darkness. Inside the room also, there won't be any darkness. That much powerful that sun is. Similarly, there won't be traces of ajnanam. There will not be any traces of ajnanam when this aparoksha jnanam comes. When this aparoksha jnanam is coming, which is arising in an individual through shabdam deshika purvakam, through the mahavakyam, and also which is coming from a deshika, from a guru, it will remove the ignorance totally. Completely it will remove the darkness like Chanda Bhaskara. That is the meaning of this one. And one point I want to make here is that in Naishkarma Siddhi is a book written by Sureshwaracharya, who was a great disciple of Adi Shankaracharya. In Naishkarma Siddhi, Sureshwaracharya defines Nididhyasanam as repeated Shravanam only. So, if someone is listening to Vedanta repeatedly, again and again, if one listening, that itself is Nididhyasanam, is confirmed by Sureshwaracharya. We don't have to do any special sadhana other than Sravanam, and because the Sravanam itself is Nididhyasanam. This is confirmed by Sureshwaracharya in Naishkarma Siddhi. So, if you are listening to the Vedantic talks, Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads, etc., while walking, while doing other jobs, etc., that itself is sufficient, and that is a accepted Nididhyasana Margam. So, don't have to sit. Suppose somebody doesn't want to sit in a particular posture and close their eyes and do that, it is perfectly alright. If morning 1 hour, if somebody is listening to Vedanta, and evening also if somebody is listening, other times also if one is listening to Vedantic talks, why there are so many available in the YouTube nowadays, right? Great acharyas have been giving discourses, so you can definitely listen to those discourses on a daily basis, morning, afternoon, evening or night, whenever you get time, you can listen. That Sravanam is a way of Nididhyasanam confirmed. Okay, so that point I want to make here. So 64th sloka is the Aparoksha Jnanam, Aparoksha Vijnanam. What it does? It removes the samsara karanam, it removes the vasana-janyam problems. That all the vasanas are destroyed. Paroksha Jnanam, as I told you, will not remove the vasanas, because Paroksha Jnanam has got a obstruction of lack of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. By gaining sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, the vasanas, all the vasanas will be removed. When all vasanas are removed, there will be absolutely, the mind becomes so sweet, right? Like Adveshta Sarvabhutanam, all that will be the nature of the mind, and it will not produce. By what it means is that even the habits, the habituated actions will not be adharmic. There will be no anger, there will be no jealousy, there will be no fear, because all that will be destroyed and removed from the mind. Then only we can say that that mind is sweet. Okay? Till the time the mind is producing this anger, jealousy, depression, fear, etc., we can conclude that Aparoksha Jnanam has not happened yet. Okay? So, Paroksha Jnanam must be there. That should lead to Aparoksha Jnanam by removal of Ragadveshas, by constantly doing Nididhyasanam. That Nididhyasanam can be many ways, as I told you: listening, Sravanam, writing, discussing, right? All that, or doing meditation, Vedantic meditation, or yogic type of meditation also. All these are practiced, but what is the base of all these practices? Paroksha Jnana. Remember this. Paroksha Jnana. Paroksha Jnana means intellectual clarity of Vedanta. Must be there. Then it will lead to Aparoksha Jnanam. Okay? So without this Jnanam, it is impossible. By doing just karma, it will not happen, because Aparoksha Jnanam must be there. So that is what the 64th verse. So 63rd verse is the Jnana Phalam of, what is the Paroksha Jnana Phalam? 64th verse, what is the Aparoksha Jnana Phalam? Paroksha Jnana Phalam is, it removes all the intentional actions. Okay? And Aparoksha Jnanam removes all the vasanas, all the habituated wrongdoings, everything will be removed, and such a person is called Jivan Muktaha. So, from the last verse with the 65th verse, Vidyaranya Swami is concluding the Thatwa Viveka Prakaranam. So, the last verse is not like a sloka. Itham Tatva Vivekam Vidhaya Vidhivan Manas Samadhaya Vigalita Samsriti Bandhaha Prapnoti Parampadam Naro Nachirat. Itham, in this manner. Which manner? As described so far, from the first verse to 64th verse. Okay? As described so far in chapter 1, Vidhaya, having done what? Having done what? Tattva Vivekam. What is Tattva Vivekam? Separation of Tattva. Tattva means Atma. Separation of Atma from Anatma. Having performed the separation of Atma, the I, from the Shariratrayam. What all three Shariram? Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram, etc. Panchakosha Vivekam. By disconnecting Atma from Annamaya Kosham. I hope you all remember Pranamaya Kosham, Manomaya Kosham, Vijnanamaya Kosham, and Anandamaya Kosham, etc. So, by separation, remember, separation is not physical separation, it is all understanding, intellectually understanding and separating Atma from Anatma. Physically, you cannot separate, because Atma is all pervading. Atma is all pervading, sarvavyapi, cannot separate. You cannot separate Atma. It is intellectual understanding. So, by clear understanding, Atma is separated. Why? Because Atma never was connected. Okay, Atma was never connected. It is the wrong understanding that Atma got connected in our mind, in our intellect. It was never connected. We have to realize that Atma is always unconnected. Okay, always delinked, always separate only. Okay, wrong understanding. So that is Tattva Vivekam, that is Vidhaya. Vidhaya. Vidhivat Manasamadhanaya. Manasamadhaya. What is Vidhivat? Vidhivat means this can be done only through Shastram and Gurus. It cannot be sit and meditate and you can get it. Or you imagine and you can get it. It is impossible because the mind is always will look outside only. Okay, the mind and intellect will always look outside. Unless somebody tells you, look inside. Till the time, it is impossible. So that is why one who tells you, do introspection. You look inside. You do Atma Vicharam. Okay, so through Guru and Shastram, that is what is called Vidhivat. Only through Shastram and Guru, as somebody has to tell. Okay, so that is through Vidhivat. Then Vidhivat what? Manasamadhaya. So Manasamadhanam means it is Nididhyasanam. The mind dwelling upon the teachings of Tattva Vivekam. Whatever is told in the Tattva Vivekam, mind dwelling upon the teaching. This Nididhyasanam. Okay. So Manasamadhaya. So how we can do Nididhyasanam already explained. I am not repeating it. If you are inclined to sit and do the Samadhi Abhyasam, it is fine. Otherwise also it is okay. If you are listening, if you are thinking, if you are reading, etc., all that is fine. It is not mandatory to sit and meditate. It is not mandatory. It is good. There is nothing wrong. If someone is not inclined to do that, that is also fine. Shravanam itself is Nididhyasanam. Repeated Shravanam is Nididhyasanam as per Sureshwaracharya. Okay. Then, so Punah Padhanam. Again and again study. Read one Upanishad after the another Upanishad. If you finish Taittiriya Upanishad, take Kena Upanishad. If Kena Upanishad is over, take Prashna Upanishad. Right? Ishavasya Upanishad. Like that, Mandukya Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. Like that, go on studying Upanishads and read Bhagavad Gita or listen to Bhagavad Gita again and again. Punah Padhanam, Punah Shravanam through Guru and Shastram. Okay? Through Guru and Shastram. When it is done, Itham Tattva Vivekam Vidhaya Vidhivan Manas Samadhaya Vigalita Samsriti Bandhaha. Vigalita Samsriti Bandhaha. What it will produce? Vigalita Samsriti Bandhaha means freedom. Free from samsara bandham. Free from samsara bandham. Freedom of this mind. Okay? Freedom for the mind and the associated problems. Bondage. See, the problem of the samsara is in the mind only. So if you disconnect from the mind, the samsara is gone. The world is in the mind. All the problems are in the mind. You disconnect yourself from the mind. That's all. So bondage from samsaram. This is called Jivan Muktihi. Mind continues to exist. Okay? The mind continues to exist as per the prarabdha, as per the individual. And what type of mind this will be? Sweet. Naturally. We already talked. Because the mind doesn't have any ragadveshas anymore. So that sweet mind continues, and when the time comes, that mind will be merged with the totality, the total mind. Okay? So, but for a worldly people, Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti, etc. is told. But as far as a Jnani is concerned, there is no difference between Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti. Because the moment Jnani realizes I am not this body, it is Videha only. See, Janaka is called Videha Raja, that is why. Janaka Maharaja. Okay, Achirad, sooner or later. So, Vigalida Samsriti Bandaha Prapnodi. Achirad. Achirad means soon. Okay, doesn't Vidyaranya Swami is not giving how much time? Because the time depends on the individual's prarabdha. We don't know. Some might take maybe 100 years. Some might live at the early of 35 or 40, etc. So, it depends on the individual's prarabdham. So, that is, there is no time. Achirat means soon, sooner. Sooner, achirat, sooner or later, as per the prarabdha of the jnani, what attains? Param padam prapnodi. That param padam is that mind, that sweet mind merges with the total mind. There is no punarjanma. Okay? See, janma, punarjanma is all for the mind. It is not for Atma. But jnani has realized that I am Atma. Aham Brahmasmi. So there is no question of Janma or Punarjanma, and Jnani is not bothered about that mind is going to have another Janma or not. Jnani is not at all worried, because all of that is a dream, like dream. They are all anityam, this mithya. So Jnani is not bothered about whether the mind is merging or whether it is going for another round trip. Jnani is not worried really. Okay, because Atma is never born and I am that Atma. That realization is there. Okay, so Param Padam, Prapnodi Param Padam, Naraha Nachirad. Naraha, as human being or any jiva for that matter, one realizes the truth through Thatwa Vivekam. Naraha Param Prapnodi Achirad. So this is the 65th verse, and we will do a summary of this first chapter in our next class. Okay, because that will want to go through the entire process slowly. So we'll do one class for the summary. With this, today we will conclude a little earlier. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Harihi Om Datsat Brahmarpanamastu.